Hey, it's Hunt. You found Hunt on Saints. We're talking black and gold football. Do us a favor. Hit the like button, share your comments below, and hit that subscription button so you can get all of our content. Enjoy. Let's talk about the Saints. Man, I think everybody wants to talk about Derek Carr, and that's for a really good reason. He's been exceptional. Absolutely great through 2 weeks. But I do believe that this offensive onslaught is largely in part to the running game. I just think they've been incredible running the football, and that's something they could not do last year. These Saints, through 2 weeks, are second in the NFL in rushing attempts. They're one short of Pittsburgh there. They are third in the NFL in yards. They are averaging 4.9 yards per carry, and they're first in rushing touchdowns. One thing that I think is very interesting is that the Saints do not have a single rush this year of 20 or more yards. Not one. Yet they are right there in the top 5 in yards per carry at 4.9. So they're not. The statistics are not being skewed by one 94-yard run that has altered everything. No, the Saints are just consistently getting 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 yards when they hand it off. That is how you win football games. They've been phenomenal in doing that. They run for 180 against Carolina and 190 against Dallas. For perspective, last year their high was 161 against Indianapolis. That's 20 yards shy of their low number this year against Carolina. And that game against Indianapolis is probably the best game that the Saints played all year. And they're second in the NFL in runs that result in a first down. 36% of their runs result in a first down. That's incredibly efficient. And Alvin Kamara looks like a new guy. Well, the old guy that is now the same guy. He, in his prime, was a guy who generally ran for 4.6 to 6.1 yards per carry, somewhere in the 5s. Prior to this year, the last 3 years, his yards per carry have been 3.7, 4, and 3.9. So down a yard to a yard and a half from where he was in his prime. And right now, he's been sensational. And if the Saints can continue that, then all of a sudden, everything falls into place. They run those wide zones. It's not just Kamara. They're handing it to Shaheed. They're handing it to Taysom Hill. Jamal Williams has gotten involved. I don't care about it. Kendra Miller at this point. If he comes back, great. If he doesn't, who cares? They scored 15 drives in a row without him, and they haven't seen him since the first practice. But if they can do this, then teams cannot just pin their ears back and come at, one, an immobile Derek Carr, and two, an offensive line that you still can't be 100% certain about. If you're far more confident in that offensive line today than you were 2 weeks ago, you should be, because they've been great for 2 weeks. But the scheme has helped them, and the production in the run game has helped them. And that's the plan. We talked to a bunch of guys and girls prior to the season that watched this team, and they said, look, you've got to make the system easy for the offensive line, easier. And they're using motions to help in protection. They're doing such a good job of stemming pass rushers. And the good news is that you've seen Derek Brown. You've seen Jadeveon Clowney. You've seen Micah Parsons. You've seen DeMarcus Lawrence. Like, it's not like you've seen some teams that don't have anybody up there that can pose a threat, and this may be fool's gold. Like, I'm not telling you the Saints are going to rip off 40 a game every single week, but it's reasonable to think that they've got something they've figured out in terms of helping their offensive linemen. And as they continue to stay in front of the chains and continue to set up third and manageables, you can't just come after Derek Carr and put Trevor Penning on an island. It's going to happen sometimes, but you limit those opportunities because you keep him honest by running the ball. Kamara looks fast. He looks comfortable. He's catching the ball. And you've always got the defense kind of looking around at what's going to happen next. That was a great line from one of the Cowboy defenders on Sunday. He's like, I wasn't sure what was coming next. And absolutely, as we talked about on Monday, absolutely, teams will start to look at this tape and they'll adjust. And then it's up to what is obviously a very bright mind in Klint Kubiak and what, by all accounts, is a really bright football mind in Derek Carr do to combat that. They were behind the 8 ball entirely last year. They were behind the 8 ball in terms of they couldn't run it. They were behind the 8 ball in terms of injuries. They were behind the 8 ball in terms of down and distance. They got behind in games. You can't do anything to stop a pass rush when Detroit annihilates you in the first half and you're down 2-3 scores immediately, and you have to throw the ball. This way, they're taking control of games because they're running it, because they're going right down the field and scoring. And now you look up and you've got the ability to keep pass rushers at bay. And with time and with space to operate, Derek Carr and Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave have gone to work. Gotten Foster Moreau involved a little bit, and it's been incredibly efficient. But look, last year they were held to under 90 rushing yards 8 of their 17 games. That's almost half the time you were under 90 rushing yards. Again, their statistics through 2 weeks: 180 at home versus Carolina, 190 at Dallas. 100 yards more production than half the games last year. It's just a whole new world to operate in. I don't believe Derek Carr is a whole new quarterback, but this offense is a whole new world that the Saints are exploring. And you've got to feel really confident with where it's sitting. And certainly the odds makers are suggesting that. The Saints are a 2.5-point favorite at home against Philly, who everybody thinks has a really good roster. They choked on a chicken bone last night, but they've got a good roster.
Yeah, but also I think we're talking about the running game. The Eagles have gotten gashed in the run game. They got the Falcons ran all over them. The Packers ran all over them. And after watching both of those games the Eagles played in, I was just thinking to myself, the Saints are going to be able to run all over. I mean,
I'll tell you what else is, and that's perfectly well stated, and I think that's absolutely correct. That dome on Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, for a non-divisional game in a September Sunday afternoon, not prime time, not the Falcons, not Tom Brady, not the Cowboys, just this city is on fire right now.
Yep.
And it was smoldering ashes 2 weeks ago. It's incredible to watch the 360.
Yeah, it is. It is. And not only do the Saints already have one of the best fan bases in the NFL, but just the fact that they have played so well. And I'm not going to sit here and say that because if they'd have lost to the Cowboys, it wouldn't have been a good environment on Sunday or whenever they play the Eagles. But the fact that they just destroyed, and also like the fans at that Cowboys game were awesome. They did a second line outside after. But yeah, that place is going to be on fire. That might be the best environment in the Superdome we've seen in a while.
For sure. There's no doubt. I mean, probably since pre-COVID.
Yeah,
I would have to say. That's really, really cool. If you're looking for some more information on that, Matt Moscona, who was born and kind of raised to an extent in New Orleans before he moved to Baton Rouge, has a great column up on LouisianaSports.net right now talking about his life and his newfound love of the New Orleans Saints for the first time in, as he terms it, about 6 years. So crazy, crazy, crazy stuff down there in New Orleans. It's been a treat to watch those guys, and hopefully they can keep it rolling coming up this week on Sunday. Hey, it's on. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button, leave your comments in the section below, and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.